Okay, so this is take number 3. All day today and partially most of the day yesterday, I've tried to record, and it's not that I haven't had a serene environment enough or that I've been interrupted 26 times this time around. It's simply due to the fact that for some reason, for some begotten reason, my computer has failed me. So I'm hoping that this recording will be the decision maker as to whether or not this one gets uploaded. I'm hoping that this one will be the one that gets uploaded. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, for the 4th time between today and yesterday. My name is Mocha. This is the Gut Wrench Podcast, and since the first time that I tried to upload this, I, thinking that I had a solid episode, I deleted my notes for the wrestling that I had already watched. So therefore, instead of trying to recollect everything that I said and everything that was on my notes from memory, I figured that one episode being a filler episode really wouldn't hurt anything, as far as it hurting anything, and I'm putting that in air quotes this time because it's not going to, even though it's not going to progress my series any probably further, it's not going to hurt it either. Like me just saying, hey, I'm not going to do an episode this week, goodbye, good night everybody, I'm not going to do that because that would just be cheap content, and I'm willing to suspend my disbelief for a minute, and yours as well. So what I did this week was, after trying 3 times to upload an episode, I decided that it was a good idea to sit down, chill out, listen to some music, and I kept just thinking, okay, how am I supposed to do this episode if it won't upload? Well, I've still got another computer, and that's what I'm using right now, the later model Mac computer that I have, that I abandoned practically. So I had to turn it on, and then I had to plug it in hopes that it would actually give me a platform to do the doing as to it needs to be done, so that I could consistently bring you all this episode. And for that matter, I decided that it's a great idea, just a wonderful, minute idea to, as I said, while I was sitting down, listening to music, how am I supposed to get this podcast done this week, is what I was thinking to myself. And then I said, self, you need just a recreational filler episode, and then next week we'll get back to the professional wrestling, everything like that. So I thought, you know what, the filler episode, I know what I can do. I can review the upcoming show, which is tonight, by the way, and the upcoming show in question that we are going to be talking about, not really reviewing any matches from it, because tried to stay off of all social medias until I have that match, or that card reviewed rather, so that it doesn't spoil anything for me. And on the pre-show, here's the thing that really got me. On the second, I feel like on the second and third recording of this, I did a pretty good job of relaying how I feel about the pre-show. First off, why is there a pre-show with only one match on it? At least there's only one match that I've seen. Only one match that was on the website that I was looking at. And the one match isn't even pre-show material. It should be on the main show, if anything. It is Billy Starks facing off against Athena. And both of these ladies are really, really 5-star athletes. So they do not belong on any sort of pre-show. And I don't even know if it's a title match. But if it is, then that makes it an even higher profile match that would belong on the main card, not the pre-show. However, the second woman's match that we have is Willow Nightingale, who is not deserving of a championship opportunity, but she is not only the IWGP Women's Champion, apparently, but also she will be facing off against, and for the title, might I add, Toni Storm, the AEW Women's Champion. So, I wanted to review the card, basically, of the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, see how it stacked up, if it looked any good. And yeah, a lot of it does look pretty good, despite my first and second recording. I had trouble talking, or not really talking, but pronouncing. That's the word that I'm looking for. Pronouncing the Japanese wrestlers' names, because I'm not proficient in Japanese, as I made the joke before on the other two recordings that I will keep referring to. The most I know is konnichiwa, which is hello in Japanese. For those of you not, a little familiar, but, that's... So, anyway, I want to go back to that, what I was doing earlier today, listening to music, just trying to clear my headspace so that I could figure out what exactly it is, what's the plan B for today. And that's when it hit me. I have an acquired taste in music. Of course. This is an opportunity for me to show off my DJing skills, if you will. And for that matter, to sort of leave you guys in a disbelief suspension state, sort of, to let you relax, maybe listen to some music. And I know how awkward that sounds, it's kind of like whenever you go up to your, and as I've, believe it or not, I've already made this joke, so I'm just going to make it again. It's kind of like whenever you go over to your roommate's house, or for that matter your friend's house, or anyone's house, and then they're playing music that you're not familiar with, for one. For two, that you don't like, maybe. Let's say that, you're at their house and they're playing Wiz Khalifa, and every song is just Wiz Khalifa, and then it's like, God damn, do you ever get tired of hearing black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, look at me, I'm a fucking dumbass, black and yellow? Or they're playing something like Skrillex, and they like to play it really, really loud. And to me, Skrillex just sounds like a giraffe chewing leaves very loudly, And then he somehow reverberates that, in his FM studio or whatever on his computer to make it sound like, instead of he somehow makes it sound like are you entertained yet? No? Okay. Then I'm going to add some mouse sex noises. Ha ha! Ha ha! Like what the hell are you doing with your life? Don't get me wrong, Skrillex has more listeners than I do, and you could make the argument that, oh, you're just hating, you're just a hater. Yeah, I'm a hater on someone who can't even, who adds bits to his music like, oh my god. Okay, cool, I guess, I'm a hater. Anyway, it's kind of that awkward feeling, and I feel your pain. I really, really feel your pain. Coming over to your friend's house, and growing up, I was always told what to like. Me, Mocha. By the way, my name is Mocha. This is the Gut Wrench Podcast. We're on episode 85. I can't believe that I waited 11 minutes before I even said that, but it's not important. The important part is that you understand that growing up, I was told what to like. Almost like that they were trying to influence me in some way or another. They would ask me if I wanted to hear a song that they like, and if I didn't like it, then, well, fuck you. You can go to hell. And I'm like, okay, that's sort of a weird way to ask me if I like something, and then I don't, because they would listen to Devil Driver. Don't know who that is, nor do I care. They would listen to Metallica. They would listen to AC/DC. They would listen to, I think you start to get the trend, sort of. But they would listen to all this type of music that, quite frankly, I myself don't like. But somehow try to shove it onto me. Hey, you like Sweet Home Alabama, don't you? No, I don't. As a matter of fact, I'm tired of hearing that fucking song. And I'm not just saying that to be like a, gotcha. Like I'm so different than the millions of other people out there. I'm saying that because I'm not some redneck who sits around on his porch all day drinking beer, singing Sweet Home Alabama. Do 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 do. Now the sun is coming up for you. Like, I hate that type of genre of music. It's not funny. It's not entertaining. For that matter, it's disgusting. ZZ Top, I call them ZZ Bottom. I mean, because they're so bottom of the barrel. I mean, most of their music that I've heard, at least, is like mouth noises. And if you don't know what a mouth noise is, it's sort of like a cappella. Now, I'll say that knowing that I've got a playlist here, halfway decent playlist, that is actually a cappella, that makes them sound like, a giraffe chewing leaves very loudly. I'll go back to that one. That's probably not too entertaining to hear nor listen to, and I'm not sure how it sounds on the other end of the microphone, but I'm going to assume that it's not very aesthetically pleasing. Anyway, the fact that what's her name? Willow Nightingale is on the main card of the show, and Toni Storm is defending her title against Willow Nightingale. Like, they could have picked any other fucking woman and I would have been fine with it. They could have picked someone from New Japan Pro Wrestling. They could have picked the former Sasha Banks. I can't think of her name right now. Monet, I think. And that would have been great. That would have been great because she's the junior division's champion. You could have had a champion versus champion match, but instead you chose not to do that. AEW, X, NJPW, I'm looking at you, and I'm basically giving you criticisms as to what you didn't do that you missed the opportunity to do. First of all, Willow Nightingale does not belong on the main card. She's somewhat of a Dusty Rhodes, if you will. Now, a lot of you might think that that's a compliment, but contrary to popular belief, I'm not going to praise Dusty Rhodes for anything that he's done in his career because it's been pathetic. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not here to tell you that Dusty Rhodes is some legend among legends. No, anyone who dresses up in polka dots and does the hand jive and the Charleston and the Carlton and, a lean back, or whatever it was that he was doing at the time, is a joke in professional wrestling. That right there is not giving us professional wrestling fans a good image. Now, the reason that I compare her to Dusty Rhodes in that aspect, and also Vader, and also Viscera, or otherwise known as Big Daddy V, which I will not be referring to him as, these super heavyweights, as you can see, I mean, even Nia Jax lost the weight. Nia Jax lost weight. But it wasn't because she wanted to be a better performer in professional wrestling. It was for her own health. And, it just makes Kevin Owens suffers from the same problem. He said in multiple interviews that he doesn't do drugs. He gets upset and he eats. Do you know what that's called? That's called an eating disorder. Never before, and probably never again, will I see Kevin Owens in the gym working out. Never before, nor never again will you ever see Kevin Owens on the cover of Muscle and Fitness magazine. Do you know why? It's because he neglects to take care of the physical aspect of his own career, therefore negating any sort of secondary options that he may or may not have. He'll never look like The Rock, let's put it that way. He'll never look like Stone Cold Steve Austin, who looks really good for his age, by the way. He's really bulked up, as far as I've seen. He'll never look like Samoa Joe, who, in some cases, some people might say is a prime example of a fat ass, but I wouldn't say that because Joe, unlike Owens, can move fluently in the ring. Owens looks like a snail on steroids trying to complete a marathon. Now that I've got that out of the way, comparing Kevin Owens to Willow Nightingale, I want to preface this by saying this. Willow Nightingale is a talented individual, as far as I've seen. Some of her matches tend to go slower, and that's understandable because she's a big girl and she's never really wrestled on a high aspect stage, so maybe she's not in that next level of competition that some competitors tend to lean toward. In some cases, Willow Nightingale, however, just needs to maybe drop a few pounds, that would be great. And I'm not here to body shame. Allow me to reiterate, I'm not here to body shame anyone. I'm not saying that fat people are the bane of existence. However, coming from me, it should mean something because I was bullied by a fat girl growing up. That will be in that book that I keep sometimes talking about, but understand that most people who write books have a team behind them, and I'm only one person who only has so much time on their hands. Anyway, had that been the case, her name is Stephanie Dawn. She is my cousin. And as I've stated on the other 3 recordings that I can't access right now, but she terrorized me as a child. And I'm talking like, I made this joke in the 2nd or 3rd reiteration, as I stated before. Here's the joke basically. It's basically like, you can't tell me that the 16-time world champion Ric Flair And of course, I'm talking about their cage match that they had, that infamous cage match that everyone always praises Dusty Rhodes for, that I haven't seen, that I'll refuse to watch. Once again, not because I'm just afraid that it's going to prove me right, but because it's not worth my time to sit down and watch a fat ogre like Dusty Rhodes versus a toothpick like Ric Flair. It's not worth my time to sit down and watch whenever, you see this big guy that's 4 times the size of this little guy. You don't put someone in a cage against someone who's 3 times as big as them. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't work. You're asking for someone to get hurt, and it's more than likely going to be the guy who's not as big, Gorilla Monsoon, like I said, Vader, Big Daddy V, Viscera, I already said Viscera, yeah, Big Daddy V, I'm trying to think of the other super heavyweights that have suffered from this same problem, Yokozuna, perhaps, This is not me taking jabs at fat people, even though it sounds like it. I understand that. But if you're a professional wrestler, take this into account, okay? Hear me out. Take this into account before we start today's program, even though we've kind of started it, just not really. If you're a professional wrestler, it would be a wise idea, not only for your health and well-being, but also for the company's sake, because you are an representative of a company that you work for. So anything that shines a bad light on you shines a bad light on them. Keep that in mind. You would open yourself up to many more opportunities, both inside the wrestling ring and outside the wrestling ring, if you were maybe a little bit bulkier, but not heavier, if that makes sense. Get on a diet, maybe start working out, turn that into a documentary even, You don't want to end up like someone on My 600-Pound Life or My Strange Addiction. Oh, I love eating food. I just love eating candles, Stop. I'm going to quote Michael Jordan in those fucking McDonald's commercials where he said, "Stop it. Get some help," Anyway, no one's the change unless you're the change. So, with that being said, I'm about to be the change. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm about to play a series of whenever I can get this damn thing to work, a series of musical performances. And like I said, I realize that it's extremely somewhat awkward, whenever you come over to someone's house and then they're like, "Hey man, listen to this new song," and it's not that they're the rapper making you listen to their new song, putting that in air quotes, but it's more or less that even though they're not the rapper, they want you to listen to a song that they find, funny or entertaining in one way or another. You, on the other hand, are just the audience who doesn't want to hurt their feelings, or for that matter, you don't want to And for me, I just feel like a DJ right now because, once again, one episode is better than no episodes, and on top of that, my notes got deleted, and I've tried to, I can't get those back. And unless you want to wait until Wednesday or Thursday before I get yet another wrestling episode out, it's just an inconvenience for me, and more than likely that means that I'll not be able to get out yet another episode come the following Saturday. So, it just works better this way, provided that this recording doesn't, not upload. As long as this recording uploads, we'll be square. Anyway, I've wasted enough of your time. Here's the first track, and I'll try to give credit where credit is due. This is from a video game called Crash Twinsanity, if you haven't played it. Now, that was from, as I stated before, a Crash Bandicoot video game. Perhaps, maybe you've never heard of, I won't say that maybe you've never heard of Crash Bandicoot, because, as I stated, my cousin wanted me to do something controversial, so I came to him with an idea. Of course, I had two ideas. Well, one of them was too controversial, is what he told me. I told him that I'm going to go to a middle school and I'm going to be completely naked and I'm going to flash my junk in front of a little girl. And then he said, no, don't do that. And then I said, okay, here's idea number two. I'm going to dress up as Crash Bandicoot, and then I'm going to go to Nintendo headquarters with a megaphone, a whistle, and a sign that says, get out of my way, you stupid plumber. So anyway, I was going to hold up the sign, meanwhile shouting Italian remarks. Well, I can't speak Italian, but shouting remarks, rather, almost like at that Italian plumber that I don't like, And he told me that was a better idea, but not to bring up that first one again. However, I just brought it up, flashing my junk at a potential minor doesn't sound like the best idea, but in hindsight it's something controversial, and controversy creates cash. We all know that. We're all wrestling fans, and we've all read that book, right? So anyway, had that been, look at Miley Cyrus. She twerked on Robin Thicke, and how many blurred lines do you need in one? I know that I've made that joke already, like 12 episodes ago, or what was it, 26 episodes ago. But it never gets old. Anyway, this is the name of this particular one was Soundtrack Iceberg Lab. And in this next one, we will be looking at the first level that you come to whenever you're first playing the video game, the Crash Bandicoot video game. And don't worry, we'll look at other music instances other than just Crash Bandicoot. And I'll try to fill this with at least an hour, if not 52 minutes, or an hour and at least 13 minutes long, so that you guys have referable content. However, if we're going to do at least 4 more, and then I'll just make them up as I go, I guess, seeing as though that, this is already going better than the, I wouldn't say better, but, these are different tracks than the third time that I tried to record this. And yes, this exact premise. After the first time that I realized that my notes were deleted and I can't really go back and get them to come back, rather. So thank you all so much, and here's track number 2. Alright, now to a lot of you that probably sounded like cartoon music. One second. Now, to a lot of you, I do apologize for that interruption, but to a lot of you that probably sounded like nothing more than cartoon music, that you would hear on a Scooby-Doo episode whenever, like, they're just sitting around getting high or doing whatever it is that Scooby-Doo usually does. What's new, Scooby-Doo? We're coming after you. A whole bunch of that nonsense. And it's like, oh man, we should probably put this in for like a chase scene or something, But in reality, what ended up happening was Crash Bandicoot himself was stuck on an island called Insane Island, and it's spelled weird. It's basically spelled N, period, not like a woman's menstrual cycle, but, the punctuation point. And then Sanity Island, and then that's the soundtrack for it. While you're, for some reason, Neocortex, I don't know if you're aware of who the bad guy is in Crash Bandicoot, but it's a bald guy named Neocortex. So anyway, he's dressed up like Crash's sister, and for those of you wondering why we're having Expedition right now, it's because if I don't talk about it, then legally I will get sued. So if I don't at least commentary on the music that I'm using, I will get sued. Another track that we're going to look at is around 1 minute and 10 seconds long, so it won't be that much. And it's not even a track, it's more like something that you just heard, do, except on another level. You're going to hear it and then you're going to think, okay, that's blowing that last track out of the water. I'll be your potential DJ. Maybe I should add that to my resume, by the way. And no, that wasn't supposed to rhyme, but I'm glad that it did. I'll be your potential DJ today. Okay. All of this is rhyming, and I'm trying not to make it. I'm just going to stop right now. Okay? Anyway, there it goes again. The rhyme just keeps coming, man. What I'd like to do now is play a track from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses from the PlayStation 2. Now, this is a piece of music. I won't say a song because no one's singing, luckily. A piece of music that had a profound effect on me in my life because, honestly, most of the time, whenever I was listening to a video game, whenever I was playing a video game, most of the time, I would just set the controller down and just vibe in my room. Keep in mind, I was like 7, maybe 8 years old, and doing this was like a recreational activity for me, and then I'd just let the music play, and then, sometimes I'd go to sleep, and other times I would, do other 7 and 8 year old things. Keeping that in mind, though, just try to enjoy this next track. It's not like a lo-fi or anything like that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and play the next track. And for those of you who just want to chill out, catch a wave, rad, bro. I'm not trying to be that right now. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty mad that Willow Nightingale is getting a championship opportunity that she doesn't deserve. Once again, pulling wrestling back into the circle, that's what we're here for. But it's okay. It's fine. Because I'm sure that someone who has the reputation, who's been ranked number 1 professionally in the wrestling circle that she has been in her life, such as Toni Storm, I'm sure that she will gladly put Willow Nightingale either on the shelf or, for that matter, out of the runnings to be a champion, sent her back to the New Japan circuit where she belongs. Well, she doesn't even belong in there until she drops a few pounds, But anyway, I'm going to get straight back into the action. And I don't mean the wrestling action. Here's the thing. If I don't play it soon, then my the speaker that I have, Bluetooth speaker, it's probably going to disconnect here in a minute. So I better stop with the expedition and start with the actual mission, This is from a PlayStation This is from a PlayStation 2 game called Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses. So, that was something unusually. I thought it was really good. I don't know about those who were listening, perhaps. Bringing things fully back to the task at hand here, and that was Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses for the PlayStation 2, and the first time that I saw that intro, you guys didn't see the video with it, but the first time that I saw that intro, I can just remember being blown out of the water. Me and my cousin were like looking at each other like with our jaws on the floor. And another thing that really got me was the fact that that was a beautiful, piece of music. That was a beautiful track. But, wait a second. Konami only used that one time. To my knowledge, Konami only uses that one time. They don't put it in any more of their video games. If you've got a copyright for something, and I'm going to assume here at the bottom where it says The Duelist of the Roses, 1996, and I can't read the man's name that holds the copyright. Whoever probably owns the copyright to Yu-Gi-Oh! And he's probably rich right now, rich and famous, But not the point. The point, of course, is that if you own the copyright to something like that's wrestling fucking entrance music, That's what level that is. Whenever you enter a room and you're holding a speaker and you're playing that kind of music, that reverberates, I am an alpha male, you do not fuck with me. Type of stuff. Imagine if I went through all 85 episodes of my podcast, right? And then I decided that it was a good idea to take out the parts wherever I said, "Hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Mocha, this is the Gut Wrench Podcast," and the whole "my name is Mocha," because, of course, you already know that, but imagine if I took it out of every one of those episodes except for the first episode that I said it in, which is probably not episode 1, because I remember that being a whole bunch of shtick that I still don't understand to this day, but it was a whole bunch of, I didn't know how to start, so I was like, I got an idea, I'll just make a random joke and hope that something hits the wall, and I'm socially awkward, so maybe that's relatable, maybe that'll work, So I remember saying something along the lines of, And that's how I got to Grandma's house, not knowing where exactly I was going with the shtick, but I wanted the improvisation to take me somewhere, you know? Anyway, I don't exactly have the next piece of music picked out, but okay, so we're going to do two more. Okay? Is that fine? That's fine with all of you? I'm looking at one right now, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. It is 10 minutes. Keep that in mind. 10 minutes, that's right. I'm sorry about this. I truly am. This is not low content quality. I'm not trying to sleep on the wrestling world or anything like that. I've given you some wrestling exposition. I lost my notes, and unless you want me to take 2 or 3, 4 or 5 days of not having a podcast episode for this week and allowing me the time to look at what I just got done looking at, or taking my notes from what I remember, which really wouldn't work either. The point is, it's going to take too long for me to explain why we're doing this, and it's not going to take that much time to actually do this and then explain it later. So with that in mind, please hold your applause until the end. This is a Duel Links character. This is her theme song, and her name is Akiza, but I don't know her last name because I cannot pronounce it. I think you all pretty much understand what her theme song is. You just heard it loop like 3, maybe 4 times, so I'm going to go ahead and stop at 4 minutes in and play the last 2 songs, or not songs, but pieces of music, one in which that I usually, regularly work out to. So I say that we go ahead and play that, and then the last piece of music, which was supposed to be that right there, but I accidentally clicked on it. My fault. Because it's going to be a funny one, sort of like a humorous, not a humorous, anyway, sort of a humorous way to end this show, in a way, and you'll see exactly what I mean despite my botch right there in just a second. This next piece of music is called Move Forward Fearlessly, I do believe, and it was from the DBZ, Dragon Ball Z, first video game that hit PlayStation 2 called Dragon Ball Z Budokai. So, the next song, and yeah, I guess you could call this one a song because it's got lyrics or whatever else, but it's sort of a Rick and Morty themed, and it's not really a song, but someone turned it into a song. So whenever you hear this, if you're a Rick and Morty fan and you know who Mr. Mises is, then you're going to probably laugh because it expresses a lot of emotions from all of us human beings. The human experience is something that we can all sometimes look at and then laugh at, and other times it brings us to our knees and it expresses the pure emotion of, I just can't take it anymore. I want to die. Like, I feel like I just want to stab myself with a fucking fork or something. You know, it's those emotions that are invoked into this song here. And that song, once this gnat gets out of my way, will start to play. And I have a feeling that everyone here is going to enjoy hearing this certain, almost like, it's relatable. It's relatable on so many different levels, and provided that I don't get interrupted again, like what happened on the second time that I tried to record, or for that matter, just a few minutes ago whenever I told you to, quote, hold on a minute, and then I promptly muted my broadcast. Had that been the case, though, and I'm confident that I will not be interrupted, just this gnat's going to get in my way and my side hurts, but that song that you just heard was called Move Forward Fearlessly, I do believe, and it's from Budokai 1 OST Battle Theme number 3, Move Forward Fearlessly. It was in 1080p HD, and I tried to take my phone, put it, like, the volume all the way up so that the speaker was all the way up when you heard it. So anyway, I'm going to get straight to the Mr. Misi song, and then after that, I will bid you all a farewell.
Fulfills the request, and then it stops existing. Mr. Misi, look at me. I'm Mr. Misi, yes sirree. I have to fulfill my purpose so I can go away. So I can go away. Existence is pain. Remember to square your shoulders, Jerry. Choke up on the clap. You know you gotta do both. Just choke up on the clap. I'm Mr. Misi, look at me. I'm Mr. Misi. You make a request, the Me-Seeks fulfills the request, and then it stops existing. Mr. Me-Seeks, look at me. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks, yes sirree. I have to fulfill my purpose so I can go away. So I can go away. Existence is everybody stop. You mind if we get back to the task at hand? Me-Seeks don't usually have to exist this long. It's getting weird. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks, look at me. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks, yes sirree. You make a request, the Me-Seeks fulfills the request, and then it stops existing. Mr. Me-Seeks, look at me. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks, yes sirree. I have to fulfill my purpose so I can go away. So I can go away. Existence is pain. I can't take it anymore. I just wanna die. I just wanna die. We all wanna die. We're Me-Seeks. Why did you even rope me into this? He roped me into this. Well, him over there. He roped me into this. Well, he roped me into this. What about me? He roped me into this. I went over there, roped me into this. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks. Look at me. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks. Yes sirree. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks. Look at me. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks. Yes sirree. I have to fulfill my purpose so I can go away. So I can go away. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks, look at me. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks, yes sirree. You make a request, the Me-Seeks fulfills the request, and then it stops existing. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks, look at me. I'm Mr. Me-Seeks, yes sirree. I have to fulfill my purpose so I can go away. So I can go away. Existence is pain.
If there's one thing that this podcast, and especially I'm going to assume all of you can promptly agree with. It's that existence is pain, and that's exactly what he just got done saying. And also, this is one of life's biggest questions. So, not to get philosophical or anything at the end of my show here, but what are we here for? And that song got me thinking, do I have a purpose that is greater than myself? And for that matter, if I do have a purpose that is greater than myself, how can I fulfill it so that I can go away? Or am I in control the entire time? Certain episodes of Rick and Morty pick at these certain issues, such as being unsure or being insecure, for that matter, like Rick, for instance, not to drone on a little bit longer, but Rick, for instance, whenever one of the characters end up splitting realities, Rick is so sure of what he's going to do in each reality, but the other characters are unsure. They don't know what they're going to do because they're so indecisive. And he knows what he's going to do in order to stop the realities from splitting even more. But they start splitting even more and even more and even more, and it's not Rick's fault. It's, of course, his grandson's fault. And he tells him what a shitty little turd that he is, and, that he needs to stop being so indecisive, and indecisiveness will get you nowhere in life, and that's another lesson that they try to teach you, I guess, But sometimes being indecisive is, you're weighing your pros and your cons, but you still can't come up with a good answer, or a good, it's kind of like you got $10 in your pocket, right? And you know that payday is tomorrow. So how exactly do you go about spending that $10? And then it's like, that you, one, don't want to spend it so that you'll have $10 more plus whatever payday that you have. Or your options are, you have to spend it because you need baby food or diapers or whatever else. Or, it's a crappy situation to be put in, but at the same time, your indecisiveness will probably get the better of you. I guess the baby can do without diapers tonight. I just need the steak. I don't know. That's a weird example, but I've never been dealt a hand where I have to actually look at an indecisive, aside from maybe my podcast show, what company, what wrestling show, what will we be talking about tonight, the indecisiveness sometimes got the better of me there, but nonetheless I would end up eventually picking, either through force or through a random hat pull, which I've done before. But anyway, they also do different things that are like interdimensional travel, or for that matter, hypnosis, and like I said before, insecurities. Different dark things, and they do it in a humorous way, just like that one, I'm Mr. Meese's, look at me, I'm Mr. Meese's, yes sirree, and then about the second verse, he says, I can't take it anymore, I want to die, I just want to die. It's how some of us feel sometimes. So hopefully you take with this what you will, or you take that message to heart, if you will. Sometimes we just need to die, or that's not what I meant to say. Sometimes we just feel like we need to die, just to get away from it all. Or we want to die, rather. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Thank you so much if you chose to stick around this long. And by the way, I may or may not have merchandise at the bottom of the bio. And also, before I close the show, before I say my classic, vintage mocha phrases, as Michael Cole would say, First, I must give a major shout out to Late Night Wrestling Pod, if you are a fan of wrestling content, and The Hill Truth with Ted the Hillbilly Hill. So if you listen to this network of podcasts, we all support each other in one way or another, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would go give them a listen, give them 5 stars, and for that matter, maybe treat yourself to some of their podcast antics, because they're quite entertaining. I don't know if they're as entertaining as I am, but they're quite entertaining. So thank you all so much for listening, and once again, the Late Night Wrestling Pod and Ted the Hillbilly Hill, The Hill Truth is the name of his podcast show. I had to think about it for a minute. And no, it's not spelled Hill. It's Hill as in, like, you know, these hills are killing me. Or for that matter, at Hill Ziggler, which is Dolph Ziggler's Twitter handle. I didn't know that his brother was Ryan Nemeth, which is interesting to me, at least, because Ryan Nemeth literally on another show. I suppose that's why Ziggler's not on any television at all now, but he's doing stand-up comedy as well, so I assume that he's pretty good at it. One skit that I did see before I once again close the show, I know that I keep saying that, but one skit that I did see was of him, and for whatever reason, they were playing like this skit of him doing comedy, and I think he was having fun with it. He said, so, is there anybody single? And, any single ladies or something like that? And then all of a sudden you hear like this uproar of just women who are whistling, and they're like, whoa! Like that. And then he says, that was easier than Tinder. So, you know, I guess take with it what you will, because comedy is subjective and not everyone has a knack for it, you know. But once again, and for the last time, thank you all so much for joining me this week for the Gut Wrench Podcast episode number 85. And thank you all so much for your continued support on this podcast, provided that it finally gets uploaded, you know, taking me 4 tries. My name is Mocha. This has been the Gut Wrench Podcast. Stay healthy and drink plenty of water. No, that's not right. Good night, everybody. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. And that's a wrap.